We have a new offensive line coach, and I'm curious about how his jiu-jitsu and MMA background is going to translate to offensive line, because jiu-jitsu, I've never done it, but I do know it's a lot with leverage and hand placement and stuff like that, and that's kind of a different way, I think, of teaching offensive line, at least the way different than what Frank Pollock had taught it. What's your thoughts on how what impact he's going to make?
Did a podcast with him as well earlier this week, or maybe it was even at the end of last week. I can't remember. And he talks about how Jim McNally was his mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Jim McNally is a big believer in what Peters is coaching in terms of hand placement, leverage, lengthening, the appendage, the way he does his footwork. It used to, the old school was you had a post foot and you had a kick step. Mm-hmm. And you were on a 45-degree angle for the kick step, and you had that post foot was up there, and you didn't want to bail out on that post foot and give up the inside. A lot of his stuff is the feet are more parallel, because he wants to be able to lengthen equally both ways. Mm-hmm. So his footwork is, Jim McNally endorses it. He said he knows what he's doing. He's broken it all down, and he is. I mean, he's kind of like a body mechanics expert from the martial arts, jiu-jitsu kind of stuff, and he's a world champion in those things. I mean, in the
he's a badass. Let's be honest, he's a badass.
Yeah, in the competition, it's like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. He can go hands-on. I'm talking about doing this, bro.
Right.
I'm talking about striking like this, and it's about hand placement. He's going to have some different techniques, but I do know that the New England Patriot offensive linemen were all in. Mm-hmm. They thought it was all good stuff. And I mean, if you believe in it and you can teach it and coach it, guys will follow, man. Guys will believe in it too. The biggest thing is it's got to work. Right. And that's the thing. Yes. Like these Patriot players were like, hey, coach, what you're telling, man, it worked. I mean, this guy had a great outside move, upfield move. Man, I was stoning him with that outside hand because my arm was longer, because my feet were more parallel. Whatever the angles and the geometry and the mechanics and the football geometry. I think he's going to teach it, and I think the guys are going to respond to it.
That's awesome. Now, as a former offensive lineman yourself, how hard is it to, because like you said, you usually have a plant foot and a kick foot. How is that different to get that in your head to keep your feet parallel? How hard would that be to change that? Because offensive linemen are always like that. To do it parallel is foreign, I guess. Is the best way to say it.
Well, usually though, at some point in time during the course of the play, your feet will be parallel.
Right.
If you're not moving both feet at the same time, you're not hopping.
Right.
You're doing one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. So if you kick, you bring your other foot, you bring your plant foot back. So you're moving both feet at the same time. It's just a different way of. I don't think it's going to be that big of an adjustment.
Okay.
I think it's easier. Just from a human body standpoint, we do everything with our feet parallel anyway.
Yeah, you're more in balance, I would think. Yeah.
You're standing. When you walk, you have one foot in front of the other.
Right.
But it's a more comfortable posture when you're just talking to people. You stand. You're not with one foot back and a post. That's not so it's more comfortable. For the human body to have their feet parallel anyway.